class. I thought I'd pop in and say hi and welcome you to week 1. I want to talk right now about discipline in conflict practices. You have a discussion board this week that addresses that issue. So right now I have my screen open to the discussion assignment. It asks you to respond to these questions, sharing information you're comfortable with from your family. It asks about your family's discipline and conflict practices. How were they handled? Does this influence you still? How does this influence impact your work? And what style of caregiving, which you'll need your textbook for. And then share any insight on the information that you've read in your reading in your book or any of the articles this week. So that's kind of the assignment, but I want to actually talk about the material here. So I'm going to swoop this other screen over here and I'm going to show you this handout. Called Reframe the Behavior. So this cute little graphic, see how fun this is? Let's just go over this with you. So Ross Green up here says, kids do well if they can. So what this infographic here is showing are two different mindsets held by grown-ups who work with children. So is your mindset a won't mindset or a can't mindset? So let's pause for a minute and talk about what we mean by mindset. By mindset, we mean your habit or your way of thinking about something. So often you'll hear somebody talk about like a growth mindset or, just it's kind of your habits of thought. So when you're dealing with children and their behavior, whether it's good or bad, what is your habit of thought? Are you often thinking children won't do what I tell them or ask them to do? Or that if they're not doing what I would ask them to do, it's because they can't. So these are two different ways of thinking about children's behavior. If your mindset is a won't mindset, it means you're being sort of judgmental. Like this kid just won't do what I say. See the guy with his hands on his hips. Or are you a can't mindset? So you're curious, like Johnny can't seem to get his shoes on when I ask him to, and I wonder why. Okay, so which one of these are you? He won't get his shoes on, or he can't get his shoes on. So you might be thinking that the child who won't put his shoes on is just willful and defiant. He just won't do it because he has to stop playing and he's just being defiant. Or if you're this can't thinker over here, you might be thinking, Johnny can't do it because there's just too many things going on right now. There's too many other children. There's too many other options for him to play with. There's just too many other things distracting him. Or maybe he can't because he literally can't. Like he doesn't know how to put his shoes on. Maybe you're making an assumption that's incorrect. Okay, then your thoughts. This is what you're thinking while you're having these mindsets. You're thinking, maybe he's lazy. Maybe he just wants attention. He's being rude. Or are you thinking, what's getting in their way? How can I help? Like I said, are there too many activities going on around them? Do they not know how? Your response, if you're a won't mindset person, your response would be like carrots and sticks. You see this here? You've heard that before, right? Are we going to use a carrot or a stick to make the donkey move? So rewards and punishments. The carrots are the rewards, the sticks are the punishments. So if Johnny gets his shoes on 4 out of 5 times this week, when I ask him to, he will get an extra 20 minutes playing with his blocks. Johnny doesn't put his shoes on when I ask him to, then he won't get to play blocks. So do you see? That's rewards and punishments. Or you could be thinking about just removing the barriers so this just is not an issue in Johnny's life anymore. So what was our barrier? We go back up here. Did we find out that he did not know how to put his shoes on? Or did we just decide he can't do it in this busy room? So maybe we just say, Johnny, we're going to go out by the door in the entryway and put your shoes on. And by putting him in a different location, you have fixed this barrier. And now the whole idea of putting your shoes on is no longer a big ordeal. You don't need a reward because it's just something Johnny does. How is the child experiencing all of this as all this is going through your head? So this is interesting. Is the child feeling frustration or guilt or shame? Because you're making them feel like they're lazy or they're rude or they're willful. This is the result of this up here. Or are they feeling supported and strengthened? So what happened? Teacher figured out that I didn't know how to put my shoes on, so she taught me, and now I do it every time. Or a teacher helped me understand that when it was time to put shoes on, I needed to step away from the noise and go in the room where there was a bench, and that's where I put my shoes on. That child feels empowered. That child can handle it. Okay, so jumping down here to the bottom, find the stressors, reduce them. Find unmet needs, meet them. Find skill deficits, and teach them. So anyways, I thought this was just really great information that might help a little bit with your assignment that we're doing here. What do you see in the mindsets in your family or in the people that you've interviewed or in yourself? Are you seeing can'ts or are you seeing won'ts? So you feel free to use the information from this infographic, this guy right here. I will stick him in the module when I get done with this video. You could print it out. I feel like it should be on everybody's bulletin board. You can use that information for here and use those thoughts as you're writing your discussion post or your response to your classmates. All right. Okay, good luck. Also, please click here and watch my discussion quick start guide. This is a little slideshow presentation that tells you how to write a good discussion post, what to say, what not to say. If you quote your book, you need to use proper APA citing. I don't always require that you quote the book, but sometimes I do. So you can look down here. It tells you you must have sources cited. So that means you do need to use a quote from the book, or at least list this book as a resource. Another way to check to see if you need to use citations in your posts or various assignments is to open the rubric. Go right up here to the 3 dots. Go to show rubric. So you're going to get points for its content, the length of it, and your thoughtfulness. You're going to get points for responding to your colleagues. You're going to be able to communicate clearly. This is just your English, your sentence, and your structure. So there's points for that. And then right here, students will communicate clearly and sources adhere to citation reference formats. This is the APA. So if you see this one right here, this sources adhere to citation reference formats, that tells you that you do need to put a source in your discussion post. You're going to find many discussion posts that don't require that, but when they do, it will have this little box, which is usually worth about 5 points. If you just don't cite any sources, you'll lose the 5 points. Okay, so I hope that helps clear that up and get you started right away on these discussion boards. As soon as you guys start posting some responses, I'll pop in and make some comments. Remember, I need your initial post up there by Friday so that you have time to reply to your classmates by Sunday when it closes. Okay, see you later.